Do we got different brains? Yes. Do we got different socioeconomic conditions? Yes. Some people got cleaner water than others? Yes. But are some people letting their kids do whatever the F they want to do? Yes, they are, to their child's detriment. And part of your question was about the parents, right?
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's talk about parents because
Hmm.
it's a lot of parents in the room, I'm sure, and I hope a lot of parents see this. Let me tell you what I heard in a meeting of teachers one day. I haven't been able to get in touch with his mom. He's still doing the same 10 on, 10 off, 1 on. What 10 off, 1 on means is the boy don't go to school for 10 days. He comes to school on the 11th day, then he ain't seen again for 10 days. Because if he missed 11 days, he'd
Hmm.
be expelled. Now, guess what his mom says? I let him, a seventh grade boy, 13 years old, make his own decisions. If he wants to go to school, he can go to school. Well, what's he doing when he's not at school? Playing video games. What? So let's talk about the parents. We have a parent here who is allowing her 13-year-old, her non-contributing 13-year-old, to not go to school, right? But still, he gets to play video games. This is one of the most problematic behaviors I've seen parents do with kids within this context of education.
Hmm.
They are letting kids who don't do well academically, who are struggling, who are demonstrating that they do not understand the material, still be rewarded,
Mm.
still have their phone, still socialize, still play video games, still do what they want. And I'm trying to figure out why in the F is that? Does that make sense to anybody? Why does that make sense to anybody? Why is the parent more concerned about being liked by their child? There are a lot of parents who would rather be liked and be their kid's friend than to be a paternal authoritarian when it's time to be an authoritarian. Lay down that law, say your job is to be a student, and your job is to master these to get to pick up whatever skills you can pick up and learn these mathematics and learn how to be a more effective communicator, because at the end of the day we can strip away the history class, we can strip away the indoctrination, we can strip away uh, all that problematic bullcrap. If our kids don't know how to calculate, don't know the basics of calculation, don't know the basics of grammar and the written word, and don't, like reading, writing, and arithmetic are really the basics. Reading and writing. Reading is the taking in new information. Writing is a communication, and math is the basis of calculation. Whether we're talking finance, whether we're talking chemistry, whether we're talking architecture. Letting a child stay home and not learn is child abuse in my mind. Letting a child play video games when they're failing is child abuse in my mind. So, again, like I said, it's a multifaceted problem. Do we got different brains? Yes. Do we got different socioeconomic conditions? Yes. Some people got cleaner water than others? Yes. But are some people letting their kids do whatever the F they want to do? Yes, they are, to their child's detriment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. Well, what did Frances Walton say? She says, uh, "Children can't raise children." Right. So, like, she was saying there's no way that a teenager can raise a child to full adult maturity. And I think oftentimes, I mean, from my experience working in many of the schools that I work with, you know, what you realize is a lot of these kids, they go to school, they're trying to figure it out for themselves. And we understand that they're a victim of their circumstances when they're kids. And somehow, when they turn 18, they become responsible for everything that they're not doing right. You see what I mean? Like it's almost like overnight sometimes. Like it's like when you're in school, when you're in high school, you're 17 years old. It's not your fault. But as soon as you turn 18, it's your fault. You know, I'm not saying it's a question of people not being accountable. I think what it is sometimes we don't recognize what it is that it takes for people to stand on their own 2 feet, right? And I think when people aren't going to school, you know, some people, I've had students that they literally come to school to go to sleep, right? Because they work in night jobs, you know, 16, 15 years old, you know, they work in night jobs. Some of them in the street. I know in Jersey, some of them was 13 years old taking cars. You know, to me, that doesn't tell me that the kid is dumb. That tells me the kid has a lot of gusto. You know what I mean? He's ready to do a lot more than a lot of other people. But at the same time, he's not using his energies in a constructive fashion, right? So I think what happens is, you know, when if they're not gonna go to school, then what are they gonna do, right? I think that's and I think that's why we kind of get back to, well, at least where I tried to start. I really do believe that the solution for African people is African people socializing and educating our own children. So I think a lot of the time the homeschooling model is really the best place to start. I'm not saying it's the ultimate solution, but I think for those who have the strategic position, because I understand everybody can't homeschool, but I think for those who have the base of knowledge in order to pass that to their children and control the socialization of their children, they should. For those who understand the problem, I think those people need to work in coordination to build larger institutions to alleviate the pressures off of people who can't solve this problem for themselves. So I really, but you know, to me that comes down to a question of nationalism, like Black nationalism. You know, if we're talking about controlling our own institutions, then that's what we have to be about. We have to build the institutions for people to participate within.